Silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. And most men never realize that until it's too late, until they've talked themselves out of respect, explained themselves out of attraction, or begged themselves out of a woman's memory. But a man who understands the power of silence, he becomes unforgettable. Because here's what nobody tells you. Women don't remember what you said. They remember how you made them feel when you said nothing, when you held your ground, when you didn't chase, when you vanished, not out of fear, but out of discipline. That kind of silence speaks louder than love songs, louder than apology texts, louder than "I miss you" ever will. You see, silence creates space, and space makes her think. While most men rush in with explanations, with double texts, with long emotional paragraphs, you do nothing. You disappear. You detach. And in that vacuum, her mind does what it's designed to do. It fills in the blanks. She starts replaying your last conversation. She reads into your last look. She wonders why you haven't reached out. And that wondering, that's where attraction brews. Because it's not your presence that creates impact. It's your absence. It's the unspoken that echoes the loudest. And now, she's not just thinking about you. She's haunted by the silence you left behind. She checks her phone. Nothing. Scrolls through your socials. Stillness. She asks mutual friends what you're up to. No answers. And that's when it starts to shift. The silence that once felt like confidence now feels like a question she can't answer. Why hasn't he said anything? Does he not care? Or has he changed? That tension, that mystery, it pulls her deeper than any love letter ever could. If you're the kind of man who leads in silence, hit subscribe and turn on the bell. This is the place you sharpen your edge. Subscribe and hit the bell if you're building power in silence, not noise. Most men crack under silence. They feel the discomfort and run back to her just to relieve it. But a man who holds the silence, he flips the dynamic. He doesn't speak because he doesn't know what to say. He speaks only when it serves his power. And she feels that. She feels the shift in energy. She's used to being the one who's chased, answered, validated. But now, she's met with a void. And that void starts speaking louder than any apology or confession. Because here's the truth. When you go silent with purpose, you're no longer just a man. You're a mirror. And she can't look away. In your silence, she starts remembering things differently. The fights? They don't seem as bad. The flaws? She filters them out. Because memory doesn't run on facts, it runs on feelings. And when there's no noise from you, her emotions take the lead. Now she's romanticizing you. Not because you said the right things, but because you stopped saying anything at all. The silence rewrites the past. And while she's busy trying to decode the quiet, you're not waiting. You're working, training, building, sharpening. You're not punishing her with silence. You're protecting your power. Because silence isn't just the absence of noise, it's the presence of strength. It says, I don't need to prove anything. It says, I'm not available for confusion. It says, if you want access to me, you better come correct. And that tone, that posture, it's magnetic. Because now she's not thinking about whether you're still interested. She's wondering if you've outgrown her. And that doubt, it hits her ego like a crack in the mirror. Because she used to be sure. She used to feel in control. But now, she's in your silence. And your silence doesn't beg. It builds pressure. She might post something loud, something flirty, something to provoke you. It's bait. She wants to see if you'll break your stance, if you'll fold, if you're still watching, still hoping, still emotionally dependent. But you don't flinch. You don't reply. You don't validate. Because silence isn't passive. It's calculated. It's the difference between a man reacting and a man leading. And when she realizes you're not just silent, you're stable, everything changes. The game's no longer hers. It's yours. Now the silence starts doing something dangerous. It doesn't just make her miss you. It makes her doubt herself. She starts questioning her decision, replaying everything, asking herself, did I mess this up? Did I overreact? Did I walk away from a man who's now untouchable? And that doubt grows, not because you said a word, but because you didn't. Most men over-explain. You didn't. Most men seek closure. You didn't. Most men leave doors half open. You slammed yours with quiet force. And that force? It echoes. Because when a man disappears, without needing attention, it plants something in her brain that doesn't leave. She can't categorize you. She can't control you. And most dangerously, she can't forget you. You've become what the mind fears and desires most at the same time. A mystery. Not the clingy guy. Not the predictable one. You've become the man whose silence lingers longer than anyone else's words. And now, every notification she gets that isn't you stings a little more. That's when curiosity becomes craving. Not because you tried to make her miss you, but because you stopped needing her to. Your growth became quiet proof. Your absence became presence. And every moment you stayed silent, you became louder in her mind. Now she doesn't want to just talk. She wants to matter again. She wants access, reaction, relevance. But the man you've become? He's no longer handing that out. You're not the man she walked away from. You're the man she no longer feels worthy of interrupting. This is where most men fail. They take her curiosity as a green light. They break the silence too soon. They rush back in, trying to explain their worth. But a man who understands his value doesn't need to reintroduce himself. He lets the silence do the reintroduction. He doesn't rush back to be understood. He lets her wrestle with not understanding. And in that space, she feels what she never expected to feel. A loss. Not of a boyfriend, not of a maybe, but of a man becoming something she never thought she'd lose. Unavailable. Now she's watching your every move, not because you're chasing her, but because you've become harder to read, harder to reach, harder to replace. She starts asking mutual friends about you. She checks your socials late at night. She looks for signs, any sign, that she still matters. But you're not dropping clues. You're not playing games. You're building, quietly, powerfully, without the need to be seen. Because a man on a mission doesn't pause for closure. He creates distance so sharp, it becomes clarity. For both of you, you've mastered something most men never do: emotional restraint. You don't break silence to feel better. You don't seek reassurance. You let time reveal who's really chasing who. And that shift, it hits her in waves. She remembers when you used to answer instantly, when your energy was always available, when she could count on you being predictable. But now your silence holds more power than any message ever could. It doesn't beg. It doesn't explain. It doesn't justify. It just stands, unshaken. By now, the silence isn't just a phase. It's who you are. You've become a man of weight, of presence. A man who doesn't reach out because he doesn't reach down. You've elevated. You've ascended. And now, she sees it. The way you move. The way you've focused. The way you've become sharper, leaner, colder, but not bitter. Just clear. She didn't expect this. She expected space, not transformation. But you gave her both. And now, she's not sure how to approach a man she no longer recognizes, but can't stop thinking about. She might reach out. A like. A, how have you been? A memory from nowhere. But you're not rushing to reply. You're not rushing at all, because silence taught you something loud. Your time, your energy, your presence. They're not free. They're earned. And the man who learns to be silent, learns to be selective. With words, with love, with everything. So if she comes back, it's on your terms now. And if she doesn't, you didn't lose her. You found yourself. And no words could ever match that.